she never walked through the door that night. No message, no call, just pure, hollow silence. I sat alone at the kitchen table, my hands wrapped around a glass of water that had long since lost its warmth. Every few minutes, I glanced at my phone, hoping for something, anything, but there was nothing. Midnight crept into the early morning hours, 2, then 4, and I eventually gave up pacing the floor. My body gave in before my heart did. I just sat there, too emotionally drained to feel angry, too tired to come up with more justifications on her behalf. I kept offering myself hopeful lies. Maybe she got held up somewhere. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she stayed with a friend. But under all those maybes lived a truth I didn't want to admit. She hadn't gotten stuck. She had decided not to come home. The entire day had felt off from the start. At breakfast, she was distant, her eyes locked onto her phone screen. I asked who she was talking to, and she gave me a faint smile and said, "Just Kelly from work." Kelly. That had become her usual excuse, her way of dodging questions. That evening, she left around 5:30, claiming it was a team dinner. She wore perfume I hadn't smelled on her in months, and a blouse I was sure I'd never seen before. I told her to drive safe. She nodded like I was just someone she shared space with, not someone she once promised forever to. I waited, first with concern, then suspicion, and eventually a quiet certainty. Around 2:15 a.m., I heard a car pull up. My heart jumped, hoping it was her. It wasn't. The silence in that house was suffocating. I walked into our bedroom and stood by her side of the bed. Her pillow was still fluffed, untouched. The whole bed felt foreign, without her in it. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat down and came face to face with what I'd been ignoring. I wasn't the person she wanted to come back to anymore. At 3 a.m., the front door creaked open. I was still sitting on the couch, wearing the same clothes I'd worn all day. She stepped in and looked startled to see me awake, like she had planned to sneak in unnoticed. Her makeup was smeared, and her voice was unnaturally casual when she said, "Morning, you're up early." I didn't say a word. She couldn't look me in the eyes. That was all I needed. I didn't ask her anything. I didn't want to hear more lies dressed as explanations. I stood up, walked past her, and went to bedroom. I grabbed a small bag and packed only the basics, some clothes, my charger, and the book I had been meaning to finish. At the kitchen counter, I grabbed a pen and scribbled something on the back of a receipt I found lying there. Just one sentence. "I'm leaving. Enjoy your team dinners. M." She didn't follow me out the door. She didn't call later. Not the next day either. And that silence, it said more than words ever could. That night, I checked into a cheap little motel a few towns over. Nothing fancy, but the sheets were clean, and there were no echoes of her laughter in the walls. I sat on the edge of the bed for what felt like hours, waiting for the phone to buzz, to ping, anything. But it stayed quiet. As painful as that was, it gave me clarity. Because sometimes silence screams the truth you've been trying not to hear. I kept replaying how she walked in that night, like nothing had happened. Hair messy, attitude nonchalant. Like she hadn't just stayed out all night without a word. Her face didn't show guilt. No remorse. Just apathy. Like she'd already turned the page and moved on. And maybe she had. I just hadn't caught up yet. By the second day, I turned off my phone. I didn't want to see her name pop up. Didn't want to read anything that would only reopen the wound. Whether it was a lie dressed as regret, or worse, nothing at all. I started walking. No destination. Just random streets where no one knew who I was. No judgment. No questions. I bought a cheap notebook from a corner store and began writing down every truth I had avoided. Not about her, but about myself. About how long I had clung to something that had already ended. Looking back, it wasn't just that one night. It had been dying slowly. The canceled plans, the vague work trips, the way our conversations had started to shrink. But I kept making excuses for her. Maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe life was just too much. I kept trying to reach out, but she never really met me halfway. I stayed loyal to someone who had checked out emotionally long before I accepted it. I remember one night, maybe 8 months before it all crumbled, when we were lying in bed. She turned to me and asked softly, "Do you ever wonder what your life would be like if we'd never met?" I laughed it off, told her I'd probably be lost. She didn't answer, just turned away and went to sleep. That memory haunted me later. That was her beginning to let go. 3 days after I left, I got an email. Not a call, not even a text. Just a cold subject line, "Can we talk?" The body of the message wasn't any warmer. "I didn't think you'd actually leave. We should figure out what happens next." No love, no apology, just logistics. Like she was sorting out how to split the bills with a roommate. I didn't respond. Not then. I wasn't ready. What was left to say? That I finally respected myself enough to walk away? That yes, it hurt, but I chose truth over comfort, dignity over deception? A week passed before I went back to the house. I didn't tell her. I just needed to collect the rest of my belongings. A part of me braced for the worst. Maybe the locks would be changed, or someone else's jacket hanging by the door. But the house was empty. Too quiet. Like it knew it had lost something. My things were where I left them. But the air felt different. The place felt smaller somehow. Dull. Like it no longer fit who I was becoming. She wasn't home, and I was grateful. I didn't want a tearful confrontation. I wasn't looking for apologies or answers anymore. She had spoken her truth with every silent night and dodged question. I moved through each room slowly. The memories still hurt, but I let them pass through me this time. On the bookshelf, our wedding photo stared back with frozen smile. Her happiness in that photo had been real once. So had mine. But love isn't defined by how brightly it starts. It's measured by how long it lasts. Ours didn't. There was a note stuck to the fridge, hastily written. Just 3 short lines. "I didn't think you'd really go. I miss you. Can we try again?" I stared at it for a long time. Not because I was reconsidering, but because something hit me deep. She didn't miss me. She missed being the version of herself that was loved. She missed the security, the devotion, the blind loyalty I had offered. But love isn't just comfort. It's also respect. And she lost mine the night. She disappeared and came home laughing, without a trace of shame. I didn't take the note. I left it there. Let her sit with those words, the same way I had sat with all the silence. Let her understand what it means when a door closes for good. Back at the motel that night, I finally slept soundly, not because I was healed, not because I didn't still ache, but because for once I had chosen myself. It's strange, the peace that comes with pain once it's no longer wrapped in confusion. I've come to understand something important. Cheating isn't always physical. Sometimes it's neglect. Sometimes it's being constantly overlooked, dismissed, pushed to the side. It's in the lies they tell to protect their freedom, in the silence that replaces connection. Betrayal doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it's just a slow erosion of being made to feel irrelevant, until you believe it. I don't hate her. I don't wish her pain. I hope she finds whatever she thought she needed that night. But I won't be around to see it, because I meant every word I left behind on that scrap of paper. I'm gone, and this time I won't be coming back.